Silence. Hey, everybody. How's that? Loud enough for you? I've been having volume issues. I know a couple of people have complained, like on the couple of the interviews I did. I couldn't hear your too. Yeah, I'm starting to notice it's not right. I think I'm going to get me a new microphone. Oh, yes. Maybe I can order one from China. I'm thinking, no, maybe I should splurge and get myself one of these fancy American-made ones, those Bluebirds or whatever they call them. Anyway, like I used to have back in the good old days on Revolution Radio. Good old days. Days before Occupy the Getty. Hello, everybody. My name is Stephen Kelley. This is the Stephen D. Kelley Show, the one and only Stephen D. Kelley Show. I am that crazy... Yeah, I'm that controversial. Yes, that controversial person that some people say, hey, you're brainwashing the Trump fans, whatever, or whatever. We're gonna have one of those shows tonight. But yeah, and we're on Truthcat Radio. Remember that, Truthcat Radio. Mr. Kitten cannot lie. He wants food and he wants what he wants. He wants milk. He'll let you know. Milk. Anyway, but bottom line, if you haven't noticed, those of you that have been following over the last 11 years or so that I've been publicly doing this stuff, talking about the Getty and all that, I hear it from people once in a while that say something like, over all these years, your message hasn't changed. You're still saying the same thing. It's amazing. I'm like, really? Really? What? I don't get. Well, here's the thing. All right. The message is the message. Okay. What I say is what I say. The story is the story. The truth is the truth. I don't embellish this stuff as I go. It doesn't change. The only thing that changes are the testimonies that come in from witnesses that have come forward because we've turned this into an issue. And this adds to the volume, the content, the library of information that we have about this criminal enterprise that's been going on for so long. Now, the purpose of tonight's show, well, I should just say the title of tonight's show, shouldn't be too hard for me to pull up, is The Uncomfortable Nature of the Truth. Now, I kind of had an idea of what I was going to talk about, but there was a thing that happened a little bit earlier. I had an interview scheduled, and, I told these guys I'm not going to be too mean. I always got to remember not to be mean to these people. They're all good people. These guys are Christians on top of that. But because of all the hard work of all of you out there that have, exposed my message to a broader audience, especially like you guys that got me once we hit Truth Stream, we started rolling and we basically put the challenge out there for everybody. If you're not seeing Getty and you're not saying my name, there's something wrong. And so many of you have joined the page and you've gone out and you've hit up everybody practically. At least I don't even know who these people are, but I'm having to learn who these people are because it's been nonstop. You've been asking me, what about this person? What about this person? And I'm seeing people and they have pretty substantial following on the alternative media, which is what we're dealing with here. We're dealing with alternative media. Now, from what I understand, the alternative media, our truth community, our non-Facebook, non-Twitter community, is all abuzz with the Getty business and my challenge to who's legit and who isn't and who's a grifter and this kind of thing, the words that people use to describe this stuff. I'm looking at one right now. His name is, what is this idiot got on? Okay, I'm not going to say it. I see his ugly face right. Oh, yeah, Stu Peters. Yes, that guy. That's a grifter. Ugh. I'm sorry. I just have a page up here. I was looking at one of the guys I'm going to be talking about tonight is Jim Crenshaw, and he put up a video, and I want to thank whoever it was that talked him into doing it. But the video he put up was 11 years old. It was put up in 2012. and it was a copy of the original video of me speaking at the Alchemy event. Of course, this is dated information, but it's essentially the same thing, talking about the Getty. And in this thing, he says, use your discernment, just something to be aware of and take a look at. I will let you do your own research from there. And then he spells my name wrong, which is a good way of hiding the video from the search engines, lest the CIA zoom in on him and go, hey, what are you going to do? We're going to put our thumb on you. You know, he could say, hey, you know. And then he's got the comments disabled, which I'm told he does a lot. But when I see another video of his right here, Jim Cramer at CNN says be aggressive on Deutsche Bank. And that's another Jim Crenshaw show one day, 18 hours ago. So he's heavily into the money thing. All right. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying this is what the impressions I get. But I would, again, thank whoever got him to do this. I would thank him for putting it out there at the very least. The video's already gotten something like 8,000 views. It's got 258 likes and 30 dislikes. And that's not bad for something that he put up just a day ago. But he's got 75,000 viewers. Now, on the other hand, like what happened today that I kind of wanted to focus on only briefly is that, well, I had this interview lined up with these guys at a show called Days of Noah. I think it is, yeah, Days of Noah. And obviously, you know, I figured it's a religious thing. And obviously, apparently it's very Bible-oriented. And I guess I forget what it's like dealing with people who are very Bible-oriented. But again, I take my message for granted. You know, it doesn't change. It's out there. The material's out there. Everybody's heard it. Everybody's, you know, I'm kind of over the shock or expecting that, you know, the shock that people should have when they hear me talk about these things, psychics and aliens and underground bunkers and CIA and all this nonsense. It's kind of, I guess I'm sort of numb. Well, anyway, the guys over there, apparently I gave them my material, I think, but they wanted to talk about underground bases. They said, hey, I hear you're the expert on these bunkers and these underground bases, and we'd like to talk about that, but we'd like to talk about it in the context of satanic ritual abuse, okay, check, and also Nephilim. Now that's basically fallen angels or demons, according to, you know, pure biblical context. I'm like, okay. But anyway, eventually, after sorting out all the nonsense, they wanted to use, FaceTime to do the show, which is like, you know, I'm not going to get into that. But either way, eventually, they asked me, they said, can you leave out all the New Age stuff? You know, I guess by New Age stuff, they mean, you know, psychic stuff and remote viewing and astral travel and astral warriors and densities and aliens and all this. And they said very bluntly that in their view that these things that were demons, these were all demons. It's very simple. According, it was like biblical stuff. It was either demons, Nephilim, fallen angels, and, you know, very orthodox, dogmatic belief system. So obviously, and this of course brings me back to the early days of dealing with the CIA. And I tried to explain to them that, well, one of the things that the CIA and these guys, these secret organizations that are running these things, one of the things they value the most is people that have these psychic skills, because this is something that they use, and this has been used in warfare for a long time, and everyone takes it very seriously, and the enemy takes it seriously, and it's not, it really doesn't it really doesn't matter what everybody thinks, because it's actually going on. So, and you know, I'm not going to go into all the details of the little bit of exchange, but he said, okay, and I said, well, listen, I'll do my best, but you know, just be aware, you know, I can, you're going to have to basically interrupt me or something if I go in the wrong direction, because it's very hard for me to code it. you know. And again, if you're interviewing me, you can ask questions that hopefully won't lead me into a direction that you'll regret. But otherwise, I can't filter the message. I can't leave things out. You know, I know I said I need to cast a big tent. And again, the whole Christian community, which is one demographic that we need to bring into our tent. This gave me a real good example of how difficult it's going to be, because he called back today and says, well, you know, we had some conversations with someone else. He had someone else advising them on whether or not this would be a problem having me on their show. And they flat out said, well, they decided that some of the things I might say were probably going to clash and not agree, maybe make some people uncomfortable, the people that were listening to the show. You know, the religious types, that I might say something that would completely blow their mind because it didn't correspond to something they heard in the Bible. And, you know, and here's the other thing. Of course, if these guys are asking me questions and everything they ask is based on some sort of biblical thing, the answers are going to be what the answers are. So I can't make the truth correspond to Scripture. It's sort of, I like Scripture. There's lots of Scripture I like, you know, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, you know, aliens, demons, Nephilim, whatever you want to call them. It's just part of this reality. So that's just one part of this struggle that we have to deal with in order to get everybody to go through this semblance of a waking process, in order for us to get the few that will join us to help us recruit the masses that we really need to recruit to get this to happen. Because to make it simple, and this isn't even to really talk about all the other guys, but when this happens, when this mission is actually happening, when enough people are actually concerned, it's like the title of this video here that Jim Crenshaw posted. Obviously, this is titled as something that he created. And again, this is my video from the Alchemy event, my presentation of 2012 Alchemy event, where I'm talking about the Metropolitans. And his title of his show is "What is Going On Underground at the Getty Museum in California? Adrenochrome? Cities? Tunnels? Okay, so right there, he's got it all in there. But you notice how he says, what is going on? What is going on? I like it more like, what the fuck is going on underground at the Getty? Yeah, but I give him credit. He did it. But you see, it's catching on. And this is what we need. Even if they don't say, you know, the French part, as long as they say what is going on under the Getty, we need people to be asking these questions. And again, he's separating himself. He's saying this is for your discernment, da-da-da. But he's giving it to his listeners because he's being responsible. And he knows that if he doesn't do this, he's going to get that label, because his fans have been asking him to do this. So here he went. He stuck he did it. He made that gesture. Now, what's the difference between this guy here and, say, the guys over there at TruthStream, or perhaps the guys over there at Noah's Days of Noah? And there's others, of course. I've got another show that scheduled, and hopefully after tonight we'll still have it scheduled. What is it? Oh, I don't have it in front of me. Oh, here it is. It's the skeptic. It's the come on! I got to make sure I get his name right. Oh, here it is. Where is it? Come on now. All right. I always do this. I should have opened up the actual email. I wanted to say Skeptic's Corner, but Typical Skeptic. There it is, Typical Skeptic Podcast. Now, this is another guy I think that has a pretty good following. And again, I mean, by the name Skeptic, that tells me right away I'm going to be on the defensive. But that's okay. That's part of the process. But let's say even, I mean, again, we're not judging these people here. Jim Crenshaw, He's already gotten 8,000 views out of his 7,500 people. That should generate a pretty good thing. He hasn't put in my any connection content. In other words, anybody that's going to connect to me now because of his show is going to have to do a little research. And of course, spelling my name wrong is not going to help them. Maybe they'll put in, oh, well, I don't know. My God, he's making it a little bit difficult. Jim, it's on you. Fix it. It looks kind of like either, there's no reason to make a mistake like that, obviously, unless you're just trying to hide. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. There's another guy that everybody's talking about that I need to deal with. Well, I'm hoping to deal with. It was this David Nino Rodriguez. Is that it, people? Let me see. Let me double check. David Nino Rodriguez. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Nino's Corner. He's got a show called Nino's Corner. Okay, David Nino Rodriguez. Now, here's another guy. I'm looking at his Telegram, and he's got 108,000 people on Telegram, which is pretty significant. He's almost got 109. Let me take a look at it. So he's got a picture here of him holding up his, he's a pretty big dude. Yeah, he looks like a pretty big dude. I'd say he's a heavyweight or middleweight. He's one of these. He's got a total no neck. Sorry, David. You're what we call a no neck back in the day, But let me see. How many belts has he got here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 belts. Okay, so this guy's a pretty successful boxer. Now, from what people have been asking me a lot about this guy because he's got a show and they want me to do a show, and they've been calling him about having me on his program or trying to get him to have me on his program. And he hasn't said anything yet, but I did look at him briefly on, I Googled him, looked into him a little bit. I found out that he was a boxer, and I found out that at some time in his life, he had a catharsis where he realized that he was a bully, and that the reason why he became a boxer was because he was bullied, but it turned him into a bully and blah, 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 and, this kind of thing. But, sorry, I know some people hate it when I do that, but he's became a public speaker, and that generally means, I guess it was like a motivational speaker of sorts, speaking to people, trying to say, here I am, I'm this boxer, I've got all these belts, stay up there and show off the belts and then tell people, you can do it, you can be a champion, all that stuff. Okay. So that was his new business. And somewhere along the line, he got behind whatever it is that he got behind. I still don't know yet because I haven't seen his content, but I only hear these little things. Like, for instance, someone today said that if I was able to do an interview with this guy, he wouldn't put it on YouTube or Rumble or someplace where people could look at it, BitChute, whatever. He would stick it on behind some paywall on something that he called, was it Nino's Corner? I guess it is. And you wouldn't be able to watch it unless. So right away, I'm telling, again, you guys, I'm saying, I want to give this guy every bit of benefit of the doubt, but one of my biggest red flags is the whole money thing. Now, again, people have said, well, what's the matter with people being in the truth industry, if to make a little bit of money? Well, there are a lot of things, if you're a public speaker and you want to motivate people, that's one thing, but don't throw the word truth in there. Okay. That's not a good thing. And again, like I said before, if you're trying to be in the truth business, it's basically information, because you're trying to overcome the information the enemy's putting out, and that's their weapon, is information. Just like a boxer's got his fists, he punches people. The enemy has information, and their ability to put information out there is their weapon. So, I would think that if you're going to be an effective user of information as a weapon, you probably need to have a little bit of an intellect, and being a boxer and, being thumped on the head a few times is probably not the best way to, it's probably not the best way to start out doing this stuff. So guys, once again, this reminds me of David Icke. Everyone says, well, David Icke this and aliens this, and he said this, and this is why I learned about this, and the Queen, and yada, yada, blah, 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 BS. But, guys, remember, what was he? He was like a guy that talked about football on the TV, on the telly. he wasn't. It was like, come on, he wasn't there because he was super bright. All right, and he's still not. And again, everything he does is about the money. So even if this guy does have me on his show, if he sells that information, that's not okay. That's selling truth. That's what I'm saying here is truth. You don't sell my words. I don't sell my words. Nobody should have to pay to hear what I have to say, and nobody should have to pay to hear what anyone else has to say if they are saying that it is the truth. That's like these damn Trump channels, these fake things that are probably coming out of China or something. It's like, here, let me see, what do we got here? We got Dan Scavino page, and there's another one, JFK Jr. page, and they're constantly putting stuff out. Oh, so-and-so got shot. This happened. You're only going to be able to find out about it if you go to this special page and you get accepted and all this nonsense. Everything is a complete scam. And again, if you're competing with someone else for the value of your truth, or, in other words, it's like if everybody calls themselves a purveyor of truth, they should actually all get together and put their information together. And if they're all using the same sources of information, you could pretty much rule out half the people there and go straight to the sources of the information. That's where it should come. Anyway, I get a little frustrated. There's a bunch of points that I also wanted to talk about tonight besides this mission, but I'm just going to say before I get onto this stuff that, again, thank you to all of you that have put the word out there. And thank you to all the people that have joined the group since. And thank you to all the people that have stayed in the group. And again, I'm talking about the Telegram group, which you have to join and you have to stay there. And the group in Telegram is Occupy/Stephen D. Kelley. We're up to 4,300 members, which is a record. And I noticed that nobody has quit in the last few hours. So bravo to all of you that have made that number actually hold. It's kind of pretty to see. But again, these other guys have hundreds of thousands of people, and they could all be regurgitating comfortable truths or comfortable half-truths or whatever it is that they're selling, propaganda. But imagine if those people like David here, or even, what's his name, Jim Crenshaw, or the yet-to-be-done interview with this guys over there at Skeptic. Just imagine if they took those combined listeners. I know a lot of you people that listen to these shows, you're all the same people, but still, we're talking about at the least 100,000 people. If we actually got those people behind us, we'd actually be doing something. We'd actually have something significant happening. And you see, well, like Crenshaw there, his show, 8,000 people in one day. Obviously, it'd help if people could actually find the page, but still, death by 1,000 cuts. Getty's got to be hating this stuff. Now, before I get into all this more esoteric stuff and I talk about a few current events like the trans shooter thing that took place, I got to answer some questions. People have been talking about time and free will, med beds, time stretching, things like that. I need to kind of tie this all in. But, well, I got to be honest, I'm a little bit lost here because I don't know how to be friends with all these people. And at the same time, I'm working really hard to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I'm not judging anybody or saying this person's evil or that person's evil. This is an important skill, trust me. But I don't know. I do get angry when I see people talking crap like, oh, this guy. I mean, seriously, like the latest, you're still CIA. this guy's full of it. He works for the dark side, blah, blah, blah. He's not of the light. All these crazy things people say, blah, blah, blah. I get it from all sides. Same thing with the Christian community, of course. Again, when you've got a book and your dogma is written down and you can't be flexible and there's no interpretation outside of the interpretation that you're getting fed to you, it's kind of the same thing with all these other shows and these truthers and these people putting out this information, whether they're doing it for money and giving you stock tips or investment tips at the same time. Aside from that, well, I guess they've all got their limitations. But here's the thing, and this is really what's important before I move on, is that this Getty, this mission, you can't comprehend what's down there. Nobody can comprehend what's down there. I've been trying to make an effort to have you comprehend. And when I give you some of the gory stuff, people just freak out. And I can't tell you about the great technology because you can't comprehend that, because you just can't. And the wealth and stuff, how are you going to comprehend that? You don't see this. I mean, you see Donald Trump and his gold toilet, this sort of thing, but it's a little more opulent down there. It's just crazy stuff. You just can't comprehend it. And when you're talking about technology that's been there since Atlantis and all these things that go against the Bible, basically, I mean, they completely throw out the various testaments of the Bible, and then the evil and the people that are doing the evil. When this thing opens up, nobody's going to be able to hide. The truth is going to come out. The chips will fall where they may. And yes, it will destroy religion on earth because the truth will come out. You'll see all the truth going back 25 million years, which is going to be a hell of a lot longer than any book that we concocted in the last couple thousand years, which is like nothing. We've done, hell, the Bible's barely 1,000-something years old. The Gilgamesh is a lot older, but it's not that old either. There's really nothing out there, but there is a lot of stuff down there that is going to change everybody's perspective. Hell, going into the CIA, the first damn thing you have to deal with is your concept of religion. Now, most people, at least the ones that I heard about that went through this, dealing with all these top secret stuff and aliens and all this crap, they all became alcoholics. This was the only way they could deal with it, because their preconceived notions and belief systems were shattered. It's going to shatter everything. Whatever was written in the book is going to be shattered. Basic concepts, basic ideas, truths, like the stuff that the words of Jesus, that's all going to be there. But the who's who of who did what is going to come out. So your anything they told you about history, gone. Anything they told you about the earth, gone. Anything they told you about religion, it's going to be gone. Money, gone. The lies of the warfare and who's been behind everything that's been going on the earth for so long, what humans are really used for, who humans were created by, all these things. Who our true masters were, not God, of course, but the ones that created us as hybrids, the ones that have been at war with each other for 25 million years, the ones that we're fighting right now in the astral, the ones that are coming out of these portals that are going to be exposed, all this stuff. Reality is going to be a tough pill to swallow. And at the very least, we know for sure that the Christians and the people that cling to Orthodox religions, Jews included, Muslims, whoever, they're in for a extremely harsh wake-up call. And the more your feelings and the more your belief system is inflexible, the more inflexible your belief system is, the harder that's going to be when we shatter it. If your life depends, and your hopes and dreams and everything you've dedicated your life to depends on some sort of belief system that is going to be shown to be simply a man-made interpretation of somebody's guess at what reality really is. That's the whole purpose of the Getty mission, is to show you what reality really is, all the true natures of reality, what the real reality is, what's going on there right now, the reality of the torture, the reality of the satanic ritual sacrifice that these guys said they wanted to talk about. Christians, I don't know why you want to dwell on Nephilims and giants and bullshit from the fucking Noah and the flood, when you've got a couple generations after the flood, you've got Nimrod, who gets executed because of his baby screwing, and his followers all go underground, and this is the birth of the bunkers. This is the birth of all of that, the Masons, everything. Into the tunnels, underground they go, like rats. They've been there for that long, since the flood. It's a long damn time. Much longer than the writing of the Bible or anything else for that matter, except for maybe the Epic of Gilgamesh, because certainly Gilgamesh and Nimrod are confused, etc. Could be that's who they're really writing about. Wouldn't be surprised. But either way, whatever they've been doing down there, whatever they've been hiding, we know what they're doing. We know from the victims how horrible it is, even though most of the people, even though they're curious, they don't want to really know. We know how bad it is. I just, I got to be honest, I'm just kind of speechless because if you're not, I mean, just to put it really simple, before I get into this other stuff, if you're not supporting this mission, if you're not open to the truth, which is inflexible, you can't really filter it and leave out key parts that clash with something that you believe. And if you want to pretend that you're interested in learning new things, part of those new things are going to contain information that's probably going to make you uncomfortable. That's the nature of truth. What more can I say? And the Bible is supposed to be truth. So if my truth clashes with your truth, at the very least, you need to listen to it and decide if it meshes or if there's a conflict. And then you have to decide what resonates with you and what do you think is really true, especially under the assumption that what I'm saying is true. Because if you're asking me to talk about bunkers, it's because you think bunkers exist and you want to know the truth and you want to know the gory details. And it's those gory details that you also don't want to hear unless they're in your Bible, and they're not. None of this is in your Bible. None of this is in anywhere. And this is why we need so many people to have it in their heads and to be saying, like Crenshaw said, what is going on underground at the Getty Museum in California? What? We need all these people thinking this, masses and masses of people, even if they don't like me, even if they don't believe it, we still need to have them ask this question, because then it becomes a loud piece of reality that won't go away. The enemy knows this is happening. It's like Rob Roy said, I think, the energy that's created when all those brains focus their brains on that one location and this one issue, it's going to melt right through it. like lava through ice. That's what's happening now. That's why there's so much turmoil with all these people trying to tell the truth. And that's why we have things like trans shooters who are anti-Christian, because obviously we're Christian. But at the same time, they also call us QAnon and Q, and somehow we're Trumpers. And yeah, just for posterity, I'll just mention, yeah, Trump got indicted today. They could arrest him if they wanted to anytime. First president ever. And of course, the liberals all gloat and say, even Clinton didn't get arrested. Well, really? Why is that? It's because it's like they had to use tax evasion to arrest Al Capone, even though he murdered all kinds of people. Same thing with Trump. They used some BS. Oh, he paid off some hooker. But yeah, okay. That's the best they could do. They're going to run with it. He did a lot worse. Biden, he's a piker compared to the Trump, but they're all bad. It's a clown show, and yet people still get caught up with it. And for some reason, our community, our so-called truth community, is wrapped up in this, well, this outer land that we call the alternative news, where people like Stu Peters run amok. Alrighty then, everybody, I'm back with a show. It's called The Uncomfortable Truth, Nature of Truth, The Uncomfortable Nature of Truth. And again, my name is Stephen Kelley. It's Stephen D. Kelley Show, as you mentioned. And I should, before I go on with all the other stuff, real quick, if you guys want to help me out, financially, you got to do the PayPal, and you got to use Stephen Kelley 714 at yahoo.com. And please say it's for a friend or family, because I'm not a business. It's got to be a donation, or I will happily send it back to you. And thank you very much for the kind thought. If you don't like PayPal, and I don't blame you, you can send me an email and say, hey, I'd rather send you a pile of money in the mail or something. Sure, you could do that if you want, but I'll tell you you got to send me an email and I'll tell you how to do that. All right. And also, if you want the book, it's amazing how many people have probably read the book by now. And of course, it is free. And you can always send me an email and I'll send you a copy. And like you said, there's all sorts of, there's actually lots of translations floating around, and hopefully we can get this out there in different countries. But right now it's a tough sell. Apparently America is the only place that's woke, even though woke is being used by the enemy now to make us look stupid. Okay, back to that show. There seems to be a backlash, of course. Now, the enemy's doing everything they can to screw us up. We had another train derailment, but this school shooting nonsense, taking away the guns, obviously they're afraid of the pitchforks coming out. And as I've said, once this stuff that's going on here in the alternative media basically finds its way into the mainstream, the Fox News networks, et cetera, and it's forced to go out to the mainstream, because it's already in the mainstream when people like, entities like, USA Today, which is a mainstream newspaper, very mainstream, have to run stories saying that this is false. Now, whether this was their intention or not, that is piercing into the mainstream. Now, if we keep doing this, it's going to eventually be so uncomfortable that more higher profile mainstream activity is going to have to be dedicated to debunking this and eventually allowing me to have my say, which I know they'll never do. They'd rather no matter what, not in court, not on TV, nowhere, I'm never going to be able to have my say, and they're going to, because they know what's going to come. And this is why they've got to do things like these shootings so that they can take away the guns, hopefully. And maybe you won't be able to kill them all when they're trying to hide in the bunkers. But this little trans shooter thing, obviously, she's only, 23, 24 years old. So that means that her formative years were kind of like the Obama. Before that, I guess, not much. But she wanted to be a man, a short little girl. And apparently, before she went into this little Christian school with some kind of I looked at her weapons today, and some of them are really cheesy. I mean, she had one AR-15, and she had a Smith & Wesson MP something 9mm. And she had this other thing. I think it was a High Point, but it looked like real crap. But either way, the little girl had damn stickers, little girly stickers on her gun. On the magazine of the AR-15, there was a little cloud, a little lightning bolt, little cutesy little stickers. There was also a cutesy little sticker on the side of her handgun, her Smith & Wesson. You know, her tactical handgun that she was using, so-called tactical weapons. Come on. Now, how more confused can you get? She's wearing men's clothing. She's using male, whatever they call that, pronouns. And yet, on her very masculine killing tools, she has little girly stickers. Come on. That sounds a little confused to me. I mean, you know, if you're going to be transgender, what's with the little girly stickers on your damn assault weapon, so-called assault weapon? Now, that stuff doesn't make a lot of sense. But anyway, she emailed her friend, or she wrote her friend, says, I'm going to die today. You're a nice person. You'll probably hear about me in the news after this. And, of course, nothing happened. You know, I'm sure this is an endless story. But either way, she went to this little school where apparently she went as a child. And for whatever reason, this was a Presbyterian school, I guess it was. It's like 200 students or something, preschool to grade 7, who knows what. But she targeted the little ones, you know, 10 years old. Small ones, 9, 10 years old. Very, very small children here. Kind of like the age they like under the Getty, you know, those kids. Anyway, she made her way into that building, shot through a glass door, and was it 3 adults? 3 adults she killed. I'm not sure how many adults she shot, but she killed 3 adults, and apparently she shot 9 children, 3 of which died. It could be 9 wounded and 3 dead, but 3.
It was dead. 3 children, 9 years old, and 3 adults.
Okay. All right. Okay. 6 people dead, but I was trying to get the overall numbers. I wasn't sure what the number of wounded was, but there was still a significant number of wounded children. I think there was probably 9 children in all shot. Of those 9, 3 died. But here's the point. They're all little itty bitty kids. Probably didn't run away too hard. It wasn't that hard to plug them with a 9mm and make them stop running. You know, and people, it's like I heard someone say, wow, what kind of weapon was she using? It must have been kind of accurate to be able to shoot all those kids like that. I'm thinking, you know, no, when you're a kid in a little room, you're a sitting duck. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. This little girl who's probably 5 foot tall, trying to be a man with little girly stickers on her gun, she was certainly manly enough to shoot these little children. Now here's the thing. Here's what's really going on here. She was a follower of a radical gender ideology, a so-called well, not even femi, but a trans Nazi, a person who is an activist in the trans community to the point to where they want to kill Christians because they think the Christians are in the way of their growth. And apparently in Tennessee, right before this happened, a law was passed that basically shut down transgender surgery and hormone blockers for minors. Now, apparently, this girl wishes that she was able to receive who knows what, if she was able to get steroids or what. But we do know one thing. She wrote a manifesto. She wrote a letter of why she did what she did, and she left it in her little car, her little girly little car that she drove into and left in the parking lot with all her weapons. Well, anyway, they're not releasing this information. No, they're not releasing this information. They won't let the public know that this little terrorist was out to kill the children of Christians, because that's what they do. They call them Christ cucks. Fuck the Christ cucks. Kill the Christ cucks. Shoot the Christ cucks. Boot the Christ cucks children. kill the Christ. This is what they say. This shit is all over the internet, and you see these little girls trying to be boys, boys trying to be girls, standing in front of the damn pink and blue flag, trying to enforce their right to be freaks. Now, if you haven't noticed, and I'm just going to be gentle here because, you know, I love all humans. I don't love their actions sometimes, but gay is not a mental disorder. Transgender, that is a mental disorder. When you think that God didn't get it right, you don't understand anything. You're so fucked up in the head that you don't understand your life. You don't understand what you're doing here. You don't understand the nature of the energies. You don't understand the truth. Just like these Christians trying to hide the truth. These transgenders hate the Christians because they're keeping them from being transgenders, and the same people are hiding the truth about the male and female energy and the nature of the universe and all these so-called metaphysical truths that are being hidden by both sides and being bastardized by all sides. So it's all sides that don't want to hear about this shit. Now, Trumpers don't want to hear about it. Christians don't want to hear about it. Jews certainly don't want to hear about it. People that support Biden and, I don't know, people like Gavin Newsom, they certainly don't want to hear about it. What are we supposed to do? All right. That's your mission right there, guys. Get through all that crap. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm sorry. All right, I'm just going to move on here real quick. Somebody wants some cancer healing. Yeah, if you want some healing, please help. And if you join the group again, we're still, I still encourage everybody to think about Samantha. Now, the conversation, we went to this whole free will thing earlier, and I get heated with stuff like this because I'll tell you flat out, there's no such thing as free will. And to understand this, you have to understand all these things, like why you're even here on the earth, or how long your life is in respect to how many times you have to come here over and over until you complete the maturing process that every soul has to go through on this level. It's circular. We've talked about this. It's circular. I don't really want to spend a lot of time, but we just don't know, because on the higher levels, what you perceive as time doesn't exist. And you occupy all these spaces. And we know that on the higher levels, that's what really controls what you perceive as reality in the 3D. So yeah, your time will change things. Your timeline can change. You won't even know. I don't want to spend too much time on that, but another person was asking about this concept of living a long time. And I know this is a reoccurring human thing. This is something that just doesn't go away. People wanting to live a long time. And I know that the enemy has been stretching our time and doing all this, and I don't have time to get into the mechanics of that science, if you will. Time stretching, and you feel cheated. Well, the point is, in the grand scheme of things, you're going to be here many, many, many times. When you finally graduate, you're going to repeat that too, even more times. So, until you understand that, you'll never really be able to put what you're doing here on Earth into perspective properly. But I guess I just want to wrap it up, but I do just want to say that if you remember that, then maybe you'll put more effort into helping us with this mission and realize that getting that fancy house or saving up that retirement or not getting fired from your job or whatever it is that's holding you back from completing this mission. If you realize that nothing else in the universe matters but completing this mission, because this will expose all the truth that will set us free, all the knowledge that we need so that we all gain the gnosis, so that we all can have salvation and get off this merry-go-round and transition to whatever you want to call it, go to heaven. I know the Christians understand that. We all want to do that, right? We all want to graduate, and this is one of the best ways we can do it. Because A, we will have eliminated the enemy, we will have created paradise on earth, and we will have shown people that there's something better. And here's the thing, guys. You just can't have unlimited population growth no matter what you say. We're not made to be living packed into a dense thing like these so-called, these people say, well, if we were all living like in the same density as Manhattan, you could pack everybody into an area the size of Arkansas or some silly-ass thing like that. People, you can't do that. We need less souls to graduate. The more souls we have, the longer it takes to graduate. And that's why we have to force everybody to learn everything all at once by opening up the Getty and letting it do what it does. Let the truth do what it does. If it plows people down and breaks their belief system, if it puts people out of a job, if it turns out a way you weren't expecting, well, hey, that's the uncomfortable nature of truth. Okay? So with that, I'm going to say, once again, my name is Stephen D. Kelley, and this is the Stephen D. Kelley Show, and we are Truthcat Radio, www.truthcatradio.com, and it's still March 30th, 2023. It's now 6:55 p.m. And before I go real quick here, I just want to look real quick and see who's all listening. We got 50 listeners. Says 50. Oh, there's Fort Bragg. Hey, look at that. All right. Well, they never let me see anything, but those of you, we got Mexico in the house. Hey there. Brooklyn, Buffalo. Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks all for being here. And again, keep up the good work. Work even harder. And before they ban TikTok, make more TikToks. And get out and keep doing it, going out there and getting more and more and more people to talk to me. Okay? What's the worst thing that they can happen? And don't worry about me being afraid to talk to them. They're afraid to talk to me. I don't care if you set up an appointment for me to talk to Trump. As long, of course, we have a fair recording device going on. It doesn't matter. Okay? Do what you've been doing because it's working great. We're going gangbusters. You're making a lot of people sweat. And I really hope this time next week we're a million times closer to our goal, okay? Because I'll tell you, those children are down there suffering, and all the people that are afraid to share the truth, you're responsible. And I don't care if you're a Christian and you love the Bible and you just don't want to step on any toes. If you're not willing to open your mind and hear the truth and at least decide whether or not it sounds like the truth to you, then you're a brainwashed droid. You're part of the problem. And you're certainly not helping the children, and you can't help us. All right? I'll leave you guys with that. Again, Stephen Kelley here, signing out. Good night. God bless. Adios. And goodbye.